That time again, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Two Tamers Talk. Jeff's in the building. What's up, man?
Guys? Looking forward to this.
Chilling. We did it. We made it to episode 30.
Thanks you to everyone who watches every week. Cannot believe it's been 30 weeks. It just feels like the time goes by so quickly. I mean, we got incredible fans. I mean, we have a good chunk of you that every week listen to this. And I think, yes, out of all of our videos, this might get the least amount of views in our week. This is my favorite one to record. This is my favorite one to see your guys' comments. So please keep interacting. I'm absolutely loving it. Thank you guys again.
And obviously Bandai watches too, because they waited until our 30th episode to give us all this cool stuff. Like, what a week. You know, it's like sometimes we have those weeks where you're just like, okay, well, what are we going to talk about? And you kind of have to think about it for a little bit. This is a gimme, right? This is an easy one. This one's fun. So we'll just jump right into it after we talk about our next big tournament.
Yes, very excited for it.
All right. Well, if you guys didn't watch last week and you're not going to watch the next few weeks, we're just going to keep talking about it until it happens. Our shop, Wayward City Games, right up there. They do a killer pre-release. We pull out all the strings.
Oh yeah, pre-release is so much fun. We do a full box.
Yep.
Full box pre-release. You get everything in the box and the promo packs.
You got pizza, we got beer, you get sleeves. We do the whole 9 yards. So you build your deck out of the entire box.
I love the turnout that we get. Tons of people that just want to come play in these great events. We get just unique decks. All of a sudden, cards that don't think you're going to do anything, like Achilles Mon or something, all of a sudden is the best card in pre-release or whatever. So, or Dino Rex a couple sets back. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what comes up. And stay tuned. If you guys are doing pre-release, we will be having an episode of pre-release game plan strategies and
BT12
tips and all of that stuff. We'll go over the cards and we'll talk about like what we're going to play or what we're going to try to play. And obviously, you never know until you get the box and open them all up. But yeah,
make sure you join us though. It's so much fun. A lot of times we have people travel in and come join us, and we get to see a bunch of new faces and interact. It's a party.
Oh yeah.
All right. So moving forward, let's just jump into these new mechanics. All this new news. Are you ready?
I am.
There's a lot.
It was so funny because I remember when we first saw a hint of this is BT14, right? I'm losing track of what number we're on.
Are you talking about in Japan or here?
In Japan.
In Japan, BT14. Yeah.
Right. Because you're talking about the new mechanics from BT14.
Yeah, ST15.
I remember you found a rumor, a listing, a thing on, and you were like, "What does Blast Evolution mean?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "What? Do you guys know what this references as far as the lore goes?" And I remember our team, we were like all trying to figure out. We're like, not sure what it's going to mean. You know, trying to figure out what Digimon specifically are going to be targeted with those keywords.
Well, now we know, and let's just jump into it. So first off, we got what we've been asking for a while. As zoo players, as people that just really like to play the game but don't like to brick.
I haven't seen anyone talk about this point you're about to make.
Mulligans?
Oh, sorry.
I'm going Mulligans first. Yeah. I think that we finally got it. I think they finally found a way to do it, because I think that the security interaction was what they were really concerned about. And I think that the way they're doing it is the only way you can do it.
Yeah, I agree. If you're going to do a Mulligan, doing it this way is the only way to do it. So for those of you who don't know, April 1st, Mulligan takes effect. So you draw your 5 cards first, decide whether or not you want to keep your hand, reshuffle the entire hand, then you draw 5 more, you keep it, then you do security, right?
Yeah, one key point to make before you do any of that, you choose who goes first. Which also influences how if you're going to keep your hand or not. So if you're going second, you might just be 1 card away that you think you're going to hit, or 1 level away.
It's crazy now that security's last, right? Because we were just testing it and seeing the cards that would have been in my security almost look foreign to me. Like thinking like some of these could have been like security cards or good defensive plays or whatever, but it just so happens that they're in my hand. So, I mean, do you like the Mulligan? What are your thoughts? I know we've kind of talked about it in previous episodes of the Mulligan and stuff.
Yeah, feel free to go back. It's actually in one of the thumbnails, I think, when we talk about Mulligans, because they let you do it in Ultimate Cup, right?
That's right. I think so.
So we talked about it then. But I think we've talked about it before with Mulligan sideboards, because our shop's always been kind of split down the middle on whether or not they like them or not. Now Bandai made that decision for us. Thank you, Bandai, because I hated having that argument, because a lot of shops around here, like every shop does it different. So.
Like, obviously, you know, we're all about the players. Like, we love the players and we all want them to be happy and stuff. But when Bandai has a clear-cut rule, that just makes it easier. Yeah, there's no arguing. 100%. There's no, like, half the shop wants it, half the shop doesn't. I mean, my stand on it is if you're gonna do a mulligan, like we just said, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
This is the only way to do the mulligan, I think, effectively, right? And it's tough because you don't want to reward the players that don't deck build smartly, their ratios.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to be able to make it because every deck breaks. It doesn't matter how consistent you build your deck.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you play 17 level 3s. Sometimes you're just gonna break.
Well, the key thing is that some decks get out of it easier, though.
And yes, some decks do get out of that easier, and sometimes you just have to pick your level 4s, right? Or your level 5s, like earlier video we shot last week with playing the Skull Mara, or talking about Skull Mara as a 5-cost level 5. You played those hard drops because of you didn't have Mulligans.
Yeah.
So if you just had no other move, playing some for 5 at level 5 wasn't the worst thing, right?
Yeah.
So I do think I am a fan in general of these Mulligans. I think it is going to benefit the game as a whole. I think it's going to make a lot more playable games. I think it's going to make, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, yes, it is going to reward the decks that do, run jankier combos like Jessamon that just plays a crap ton of sisters.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like disproportionately rewards them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, what I like about it and what I think is key is that it's not a knee-jerk reaction from Bandai.
No.
Obviously, they've done the research, they've done all the testing, they've tried Mulligans
that's a good
different
point.
ways.
This is like one of the first times it's not a knee-jerk reaction from Bandai.
Even though I do think it's in conjunction and in response to the Black or Gray not getting a huge hammer hit.
Yeah, okay.
Because this allows a lot more decks to be a little bit more consistent, because that's kind of the key part of Black or Gray is like, even if you brick, all you need is that cool boy, all you need is that X antibody card, because there's so many. You don't have to go from 2 to 3 to 4. You can go from 3 to 3 to 4, 4 to 4 to 5, 5 to 5 to 6, and get all your draw, your consistency, while giving yourself those crazy inheritables, crazy bonuses, and drawing and gaining memory with the cool boy, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So this allows the normal, like, I'm playing something else player to have a little bit more consistency in their deck, or at least get a second shot at it.
Yeah.
And what I like about it is that there's no negative repercussions for doing it. Like, you don't lose a card. I think, is it Magic? You lose a card?
Magic, you lose one. Yeah. Or Pokemon, which is the point I wanted to bring up, was if your opponent mulligans, they give you the option if you want to draw an additional card.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes, and Pokemon mulligans a lot because they just don't play a lot of basics on the field or whatever. And you can mulligan over and over and over again in Pokemon, because if you don't get a basic Pokemon to play, you're right. So I do think I like the way Bandai has done this. I do think it does actually change the way I'm going to start deck building. I do think I'm actually going to go down, I know, blasphemy, on my level 3s now, because sometimes I'd rather just be consistent and just have that low end when I need it, or have the ability to digivolve and draw when I need to, instead of worrying about, now I can take some of that out and put a little bit more of a top end, or put in more option cards to try and stuff.
And those 1 or 2 cards could be a huge change.
Yeah, I do think this is going to be good for the game. I think it took me a while. I think my first initial reaction was I was kind of against the mulligan from the beginning. Not like, oh, no mulligans, the game's ruined, but I was kind of against it because I didn't want to reward that. I keep picking on Jessamon. It's just because I just don't like that deck, because it's not my play style. I'm sorry. Nothing against Jessamon players.
Palmemons and all your green decks.
Yeah, right. But it's just like, I was just thinking in my head, like, rewarding them. Like, oh, great. They can just play more sisters, and they can have the ability to get out of things easier. But I think we really are at a point where every deck has searchers, every deck has draw power.
Very close, yeah.
Every deck has the memory boost, where it's like, it's now possible. You were just talking about X antibody, to get out of bad hands quicker, right? With all these,
play certain archetypes.
True.
Itmon's getting it in the next set. They're getting their Itmon X or Wizardmon X, all that stuff. So they're going to be able to do that. But, like, lowly Machinedramon players out here with me, like me, we don't have that ability. Yeah. So if we brick, we're in a really bad spot.
Yeah.
So the only negative thing about the mulligan for me, because we do play in weekly, if not bi-weekly tournaments, is the time limit. So there hasn't been any communication on them changing time limits.
Yeah,
I think it's still, if you're doing the 3 rounds, which I think most shops do the 3 rounds, because there is an option to do a single.
Oh, you're talking about best of 3?
Yes.
Best of 3 versus best of 1. Yeah. I'm not.
There is an option
to
do a best of 1, 25, and a 5-minute bonus, which I think becomes a little bit more relevant with the mulligan, because I think the big reason to do the 3 rounds is because you might brick, and it's not fair.
I mean,
but
even with a mulligan, your second hand isn't guaranteed to be a good hand.
No, because you reshuffle your whole deck.
There's literally the chance that you can mulligan and draw the exact same 5 cards,
Yeah.
or maybe not the. I mean, technically, yes, technically you can actually draw the exact same cards, right?
Yeah.
But so it doesn't mean it's going to fix all of the problems. But like, I'm not a fan of best of one formats because I've been dabbling in One Piece, and it's like best of one. Like, obviously, One Piece takes longer to do one game sometimes, which is crazy to think about. I don't like it in that. I like best of 3. Best of 3 is nice because you just get a crap hand or didn't know what your opponent was playing or whatever, and now you have 2 games to make it up.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of shitty in the fact though that, like, with the way that the Bandai tournaments work, and like if you tie a game, especially in a local tournament, your odds of getting first are drastically lowered. Like, you're probably not going to get first.
It does suck. And so
adding that extra potential 3 shuffles in per match, some people don't shuffle very fast.
And you know what? Shout out to our scene, because we don't have any stallers, really, like intentional stallers, I should say. We do have some people that are just naturally slower, just like everybody does. I get it. But like the fact that our scene's pretty good, not everybody goes to time, and no, people don't really want to go to time in our area, which is really nice. But there are legitimately, and I've played against people that will stall on purpose.
Yeah, to get the tie over the loss. Yeah,
to get the tie over the loss for that reason, and then that because it's more like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. Because like you said, it's hard to get first with a tie.
Yeah,
for sure.
And that's kind of the part where I'm just like, if you're gonna give us this, give us another 5 minutes in round.
Yeah.
Go to a 50 and 5 instead of 45 and 5.
So with mulligans being added, because remember when it went hand in hand with mulligans with sideboards
in the testing,
but
not in this.
So why do you think that they didn't give us sideboards? And are you a fan of sideboards?
No,
you're not a fan of sideboards.
No, because it's just so much counter stuff. Like, you would just have different gatekeeper cards, right? You would just have, instead you would just, if you're playing green, you'd have Pomimons and Terriermons.
Yep.
And you just swap them in, swap them out, and that adds to more time in between rounds too, because you got to, especially double sleevers and stuff like that. They got to pull them out, switch them out.
Well, if you keep them sleeved in the same sleeve, right, you can just literally swap them.
If right.
See, like, I'm torn on sideboards because I like it in theory, because sometimes there are just ways. I don't know if it's just because of the way I deck build, because I just deck build a certain way and it just gets shut down by certain decks. Right. And if I could change my little 3s out for this one matchup, or change my 5 or 6 or whatever, then all of a sudden I'm playable again. So I like
add so much time in between rounds, because then you got to think about what you're going to take out. Like, I just don't think there's enough time. It's a longer game than should. I mean, not than it should be, but then it gets pretty close to time a lot. So I don't think there's time for sideboards, and I don't want to
see if they give it to us. But no, I think overall for the game, I'm fine without sideboards. I'm not saying it needs to be a sideboard. I was just curious, thinking it was always mulligan and sideboards at the same time with all their testing or ideas, and the fact that they gave us mulligans. I mean, to be honest, I thought we were going to get sideboards before we got mulligans.
Yeah,
I kind of thought Bandai was pretty strict on the whole. No mulligans, or if they're just going to test it or whatever. I kind of thought it would take them a little bit longer to come to the mulligan conclusion that they did with how to do it.
Yeah.
Even though they have another game that does it that exact same way, I still thought it was going to take a little longer. So I thought honestly we were going to get the sideboards first, because I think there's just a lot of games that already do that. So interesting to see for sure.
Well, a controversial decision that Bandai just decided to make, and they're just like, here, this is what it is, deal with it. And so far, I think everyone that was kind of on the fence about it is okay with it now, and the people that hated it are just like, whatever, I'll deal with it.
Well, now I can start playing Sword Defeat again, because they're not going to end up in my opening hand, hopefully, because I can mulligan.
Yeah, right? There's a lot of cards that are like that, where you can actually like figure that out. So that was controversial, and then right after that, we got counter.
We did. Okay, so guys, so I jumped the gun and started talking about BT14 because I thought that's where you were going, so I apologize. But the starter decks is what have been starting to leak or reveal, and the Bandai's been putting on their Twitter. So we have the black starter deck with the War Gray, purple deck with the Metal Garurumon, which is another purple deck. It's crazy. Another black deck. I kind of thought it was going to be red-blue. But these are new level 6s with a new name. They're called Ace.
Ace cards, yeah.
They're called Ace, and I do want to clarify, because I did see some rulings on this. War Greymon Ace still counts as regular War Gray.
Right.
So anything that counts regular Wargrave, like Wargrave X, you can still use, right? Metal Garurumon Ace is still Metal Garurumon, can go into Metal Garurumon
Well, because the
X.
ace is on the bottom left, right?
No, it's from what I remember, it's like it's on the it's in the block where the name is. It just says Ace off to the side.
Oh,
it's
okay.
almost like Pokemon with the EX or the GX or the V or whatever, except those were called that and said, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it needed the Ace keyword. I don't. Those of you who are watching, let us know in the comments why you think they're called Ace. Let us know if that's from a lore or something, because I can't think
Digimon
of anything.
Adventure in 1999 and Digimon Frontiers, I think, is what the new set.
Yeah, BT14 looks like it's going to be that, but I still don't know where Ace comes from. So, but it's really interesting because now we get interaction on your opponent's turn. I mean, they're doing so many different things with these new cards that I like, and some things that I'm kind of curious about. One thing, small minor detail I want to point out for any colorblind folk, because I'm not colorblind, so I don't know what it's like living with people or living with that type of not being able to see color, but they're adding a color wheel. So I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, where it's like it's got the whatever. It's not a symbol. It's like there's a circle.
An outline.
It's an outline, and like red will always have the exact same. Blue will always have the exact same. So I do think that's good. I don't think it takes away from the card. I think it just adds a little something. If I'm not trying to. Yeah. So it's just good. It's just good to have something like that for people who are colorblind. I've never seen anyone complain about it. Never seen anyone have issues with it. But who knows, right? So a small little detail there. But the fact that these level 6s are six drops.
Yeah.
Are you serious? I can hard play a level 6 for 6. You were just talking about Mega Zoo players earlier.
Yeah.
This is it. We finally got, for the cost of a level 5, I can play a full-on level 6.
Yep. But there is the risk reward, which I love. I think it's great. And I'm curious to see how many people, because we have so many consistency kind of players, people that like to do things one way. Like, is this going to be like a legit, I don't even know how to say it. Like, is this going to be a gimmicky thing where it's just like a Gravity Crush kind of thing where you're just going to go all in? Or are people really going to like make consistent decks but have these our first inheritables with negative repercussions?
The Overflow.
Overflow. Yeah, Overflow is the new.
Is it a keyword on the inheritable or is it a keyword I think it's a keyword on the card itself. I can't remember.
No, I think it's the inheritable part because I think it's on the bottom.
I don't remember. But I believe you. I just don't remember.
You talk. I'm gonna pull it up.
I haven't done my research, but no. I think that's a great point. Right now we have risk reward, and I think if you're talking about the facts, right. So let's just get into what this Ace card does.
Yeah.
It has Blast Evolution as a keyword.
Yeah.
Right. Blast Evolution or whatever it's going to be translated to. I think that's
probably keep it there.
I think it's a Digimon World 3 reference on that, but I could be mistaken. Not 100% sure. Let me know in the comments below for sure. But the idea is your opponent does something. Right? And then you can trigger Blast Evolution and Digivolve on their turn to counter something. Right? So the purple Mulligan one seems way better than the black or gray or the Wargreymon that is colored black, the card.
Yeah. So it is on the bottom.
It is the inheritable.
Yeah.
So it's no negative to play hard drop it for 6.
Yeah. So the Ace is on the bottom and next to it. Yeah. So you can see it. So you got it in both spots. Yeah, so it is the inheritable. So
it is interesting.
The ruling is anytime it would leave the battlefield in any way, then you.
Oh, you're looking at the 5s though. You're not looking at the 6s.
It's the same thing for all of them.
Well, I want to see it on the 6s because you can't just hard drop a 6 for 6 and see and be like, even those are 5 drops for 4s or level 5s for 4s.
Yeah.
We got to see the 6s, but anyways. So you can. It's like people have been calling them hand traps from Yu-Gi-Oh. People have been calling it counters, and I think it's really cool that Bandai has given us this interaction on your opponent's turn, and I'm excited that Bandai is evolving the game and adding things 100%. But I don't think it's going to be as groundbreaking as it is.
I don't think so
because it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh where you just have hand traps, you just drop from your hand with no resource. Right? You have to have the level 5 on the board already, and your opponent has to do something for then you to trigger Blast Evolution to evolve into the level 6.
Yeah.
Or the level 4 or whatever. So it's not just like, oh, it's a guaranteed hand trap. I can just shut my opponent down and continue on.
Until we get counter in option cards.
That will be interesting.
That'll be a little bit different.
That will be interesting. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
I feel like it's going to happen, though. I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's tough.
And if you know if that's going to happen, it'll be purple first.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It would be purple that gets it first. But so how would that work? Would you give additional memory to your opponent? Right?
Unless it's a minor thing, like counter gain 1 memory, and then your opponent loses 1 memory. Because
what would be the resource to pay for that?
It's just counter. Yeah. There's no.
It would just be a 0-cost option that says counter.
It's just an option to. Yeah.
I mean, we don't have very many 0-cost options now. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be.
Well, I mean, you don't pay for the counter Digivolution.
I thought you do pay for the counter, did you?
No. No, you Digivolve the burst. That's what the burst is. You Digivolve for free.
Man, I guess I don't understand these cards well enough.
Yeah. So you Digivolve and you burst for free. So that's what the blast is. Your Digimon may Digivolve without paying its cost. So you're going from a 5 to a 6 for free when they attack.
Yeah.
And then you get the when Digivolving effect too.
Yeah, the Melga one's insane. Yeah. The fact that you get a gain memory like that and put it back to your turn is just like, oh man, that's cheating.
Yeah, the cool thing, I mean, so the way the interaction works, if you don't know already, it's when your opponent attacks, it basically doesn't like it's not necessarily, I mean, it is an interrupt, but there is a certain order in which things happen. So your opponent attacks, they choose where they're attacking.
Yep, they activate their when attacking first.
Yes, and then counter happens, and then blocker happens. So it happens in between when attackings and blocker activates.
I like the fact that Bandai gave us that like flow chart.
Yes.
I think that's a really good tool to help us understand it. I like the fact that there's clear explanations. There's no second guessing. So
yeah. So right now you just have the counters on certain Digimon. I mean, we get every color.
Yep, every color, which is nice because
yep.
So I know everybody's upset that this is the Agumon card game or Greymon card game. I get the jokes; it's hilarious. But there is a whole Greymon tribal line, and they are giving us all these pieces. But what's really nice is this is the first time you're going to use a Zodumon in blue for how long?
It's been a while,
I mean, even back at BT1, the on-play 7-cost draw 2 was not bad.
Yeah,
and like. It was more of like a tech that you put in. It was never a focus on a deck.
Yeah.
You never use Zodumon, right? So now all of a sudden, all of the main Digimon from these the first series, Digimon Adventure, are being highlighted.
Yeah.
Right? So I think this is good for the game. I think this is, yes, it is another Agumon, but we're getting the entire cast of Season 1, which is what Digimon needs to do in this card game, right? And with that being said, there's going to be probably new level 6s of Vikemon. There's probably going to be new Garudamon support, more Burbs. I mean, like, hopefully more Kabuterimon support because, like, we haven't had good Kabuterimon support in a while.
Well, it's just, it's another mechanic where we'll see it probably for 3 or 4 sets. And then we'll probably get, like, it's like, Digisorption. Like, we'll get, like, 1 or 2 ace cards per set after 3 or 4 sets,
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this works for sure. And I'm definitely curious to see gameplay of it. I don't think it's going to be as game-changing as people think because it does require you to have some setup on your side before your opponent does something. And you have to have the card, right? So if you run 2 ace cards in your deck, what are the odds that you have the ace card in hand ready to counter your opponent's timing and you have the build on board that you've left there that your opponent hasn't removed or, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and just the way that some decks are so resourceful with memory, like, would it be worth it to have two cards with Overflow on the field at the same time when your opponent can just death exit and wipe it and then you lose 8 memory? Like, that's so dangerous because then you just lose the game.
No, absolutely. So I think they did a good job balancing it. I do think, yes, this is a cool way to do counters. Again, props to Bandai for kind of the good, cool, unique way to do this, but I don't think it's going to like break the game or anything like that.
Yeah, my favorite first reaction was, cool, my Chaos deck costs 4 now.
yeah, that's a great point. That's literally a great point. It reduces the cost, right, of those particular options and stuff for you playing this.
I wonder how memory deniers would work.
You remember? Yeah.
Gain memory.
No, because memory deniers say your opponent can't gain memory, so it doesn't stop losing.
Oh,
memory.
That's right. Okay.
Right.
Good point.
Everyone was having this conversation.
I just
with
reread
it.
It does say lose 3 memory. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting for sure. I mean, like, I'm a fan of Metal Greymon's one of my favorite Digimon. Like, I love the design of him. Not as much of a War Gray stan as I am Metal Gray. So, like, I like this new Overflow, and I like the way they've been doing the borders on these new cards. I feel like it's like a fresh redesign that's not too far away from what we've been playing, and I've been digging it all so far.
Yeah, and we're getting foiled everything now, so
Yeah, that's gonna be sick. That's awesome. I think Digimon's in just a good spot.
Yeah.
Digimon's in a great spot. There's tons of creativity. There's room to grow. Yes, there has been a lot of Greymons. I'm sorry. He's the mascot. There's always going to be Greymons. But they do a good job balancing it out because it's just a slot in red anyways, and red players like Greymons anyways. You still have 6, 7 other colors, right?
Yeah, you got plenty of other stuff to do.
Where you can do whatever you want that has a bunch of other characters. And now for all the Zodumon fans, because I do like Zodumon. I think it's a sweet design. I'm not a Vikemon fan. I love the Zodu design. I'm excited to be able to use cards like that.
Yeah, I think that they're just hitting the outer limits of what these cards can do until they create a new kind of card. Because we still have the exact same 4 types of cards we've had since the game came out.
No, I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay. I don't think we need another type of card, but I'm always welcome to change.
Yeah,
right.
And we talked about that in a couple videos ago. But this is a different version of what we're doing right now. And so I like it. It's risk reward. That's what we do, right? That's how we play. So we'll give us your opinions. Let us know what you think in the comments. I know that I've seen people rage about it. I've seen people that say they love it. It's really,
some people just don't handle well change, and some people don't like what characters are being chosen to introduce these mechanics. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, come on, like,
everyone's gonna get it eventually.
It's a business. They're gonna market their most popular characters, and they're gonna do so.
Yeah.
And with Digimon Ghost game ending, who knows? Maybe we'll get more Gamma stuff in this next set too. I don't know, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's kind of the meat and potatoes of all that we got revealed this week. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was a lot to read because they gave us the reveals for the entire ST14 and ST15 decks.
That's right.
15 and 16. So this is going to be fun to kind of dig through those, kind of see how those decks are going, especially like if the decks are good just by themselves.
Yeah.
Like the Beelzemon.
I'm definitely curious.
Beelzemon's good just by
itself.
Well,
Beelzemon's an advanced deck, right? Yeah. Whereas these are starter decks, I think. I don't know. Yeah. I don't remember how exactly it's worded.
Be interested to see what they include in these ones when they hit the states.
Exactly.
Like with the extra stuff. Because I don't think they can release starter decks without extra stuff now. Because
everybody wants it.
Everyone wants the extra stuff. We got the Tamers. We got the promo alt arts in the last one. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Give us some more good stuff.
Or what was it? Memory Boost?
Memory Boost? Oh, it was Memory Boost first.
That was the first
Gallantmon stuff. Yeah. Memory Boost. And then we got the alt art Tamers that we always wanted. And then we got
I really hope they give me a nice new paper sleeve that I can unfold at Locos because I love those.
Oh, yeah.
How much money do you think they spend on those papers, like playmats that people get out of the box?
They just throw away.
That they just throw away. I mean, how many? Yeah, it's like, I'm just curious. It's definitely not bad for like players who are new to the game, and I get why they do it, but.
Could you imagine trying to actually play on one of those, though?
Like your cards? We might have to do that.
We should. Maybe we'll do a gameplay video where we unfold 2 of those.
Unfold 2 of those? Yeah, just whip those out. That'd be hilarious, guys.
All right. Well, let's jump into cards of the week. I know I picked a boring one, but it's one that's been exciting for me.
I don't think there's no boring answer for sure.
I just don't think there hasn't been. So as dedicated as Demi-Mera fans are, there's been like one egg to rule purple, unless you played like just trash your deck, like a Beelzemon deck.
Yeah,
and it's one option in purple.
It's so funny that they gave Demi-Mera the best egg in purple when he's not even like a staple in the Digimon lore. Yeah. When you think of purple eggs, the first egg you think of is Pagu.
Yeah.
As the character, or you think of Impmon's egg. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. Yaman. Yeah. And it's just like, but no, Demi-Mera's got the best. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
Well, and in blue, there was that same thing too, where you had the Demi Vmon, because you typically ran the jamming Vmon.
Yep.
You either ran that one or you ran the Upamon.
And Upa was for a long time the staple.
Yeah.
I mean, you could still argue, right?
It's still good, yeah.
Yeah.
But now with BT12, the Wanyamon. That card, it just goes in so many blue decks because blue just plays Tamers. Like, you don't play a blue deck without Tamers.
Yeah.
You just do.
Absolutely.
You play it like you always play a Davis, essentially. Like, you get all that good stuff.
And a great card from BT2 that just is going to be a staple.
Yeah.
Davis is such a good tamer. Great search. The fact that they like pre-programmed that ahead to grab 2 cards, blue and green.
Yeah.
So it's a great tamer.
Yeah, the Wanyamon, I mean, it pretty much just always draws you cards when you attack, which is insane. It's just an auto-include card.
It's funny how the best Digimon in the Mirage Geogamon line is the Wanyamon. Yeah. They're the most used card out of all of that entire line. So.
I mean, it automatically goes in blue hybrids. It automatically goes in All-Force. It just automatically just goes in a lot of blue decks, and I think it's really...
Blue Flare too, right?
Yeah.
I think Blue Flare plays that egg mostly too now. I think that's the egg to play.
Yeah. So it's a great card. There's not a whole lot to say about it other than it's just like it's going to be a staple. give me a textured alt art,
Yeah.
please, because it's going to go in so many of my blue decks that I need more. I mean, they at least gave us the foil versions because there's a foil version of everything in this set.
I don't understand why Bandai hasn't already just started doing alt arts of every egg from every set. Like in the box, like in the booster box. You know what I'm saying? Like that should, EX2 just gave us
all the texture.
Yeah, and it's like, come on, I want those eggs again.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
Mine is, I'm still on that purple kick, man. I've just, the Beelzemon Cup sat with me, and I just love playing purple, and I've been kind of feeling reinvigorated, and mine's Ignitemon.
Okay. Similar style, like auto include.
Yeah,
right?
It's one of those, like, purple has always from the beginning had a hard time picking level 3s. BT2, you had Tapirmon, which was just a staple, and that stayed around. I remember using it all the way past BT7. And then, we got like Lobbermon to add in for drawing and trashing. And we got just all sorts of good pieces. Like purple has the level 3 like problem. Like almost every purple level 3 is good. How do you fit in Gazimon and Psychmons, right? Yeah. So you kind of just have to pick your deck, figure out how things go. Well, now they made it harder with Ignitemon.
Yeah.
Ignitemon, I mean, it's just the only downside of that is it's a 4 cost to play, which that's fair to balance it out, but sometimes it works in your favor when you're trying to keep it alive with Death Eggs, or you're trying to survive Ultimate Flare, because Ultimate Flare kills 3 costs. So it's crazy how good Ignitemon is. It just has a good when attacking ability. It's crazy how much I can sit here and praise Ignitemon when I hate Trump Sword as a card, because they both kill unsuspended Digimon. But the Ignite, you almost have more control over, or the fact that you can delete one of your Digimon to trigger your own deletion effects, even if it doesn't delete something of theirs. And I also like that Ignite has a good inheritable.
Yeah.
But
Nailbone. It's your Nailbone for cheap.
Nailbone for 1 less, or Underworld's Call for 1 less, or Revive from the Darkness. Like, it just makes everything cheaper, and it's an all turns. So not only does it have a good one attacking effect, but it has an all turns ability. So if you play a Digimon on your opponent's turn due to an effect from security or something like that, or whatever, you gain a memory. So, and then it's a Crossheart card. So it also goes in Crossheart, another deck that I enjoy playing, and it goes well with the Mervas. This card just has so much to it. Big fan of it.
It's going to be around for a long time.
Didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do, but I do think it's going to be around for a long time for sure.
And we need an alt art.
We do. But we did get a foil version, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that was Bandai's strategy, was like, we're going to give everything
strategy.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy.
We were against it at first, but now I'm just like, it gives you more reason to buy it after you already have your set, right?
Yeah.
You want to foil out your decks.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Once again, feel free to check out the link in the description below for that pre-release event. It's on Saturday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. at Wayward City Games, Vancouver, Washington. Come on out, join us, build a deck, compete, and we can hang out. So we'll see you guys next time.
Cheers.